Ethan was a young man living on a quiet farming colony at the edge of known space. The planet had green fields, tall silver trees, and rivers that sparkled in the orange light of two suns. Most days were simple for Ethan. He would wake up, feed the animals, help his father with the crops, and sometimes ride his old bike along the dirt roads that ran between the farms. But everyone on the colony knew about the dangers outside the fences. Beyond the safe land, the alien forest stretched for miles. Strange animals lived there. But nothing scared the people more than the ancient alien dragons. The dragons were not like the ones in old Earth stories. They had long, thin bodies covered in scales that shone like silver and blue metal. Their wings were wide and strong. Their eyes glowed with bright light. Some people said the dragons could talk in strange voices inside your head. Others said they could set fire to the trees just by looking at them. But no one on the colony wanted to find out. When a dragon flew over the fields, everyone hid indoors and waited until it was gone. One evening, as the sun was setting and painting the sky with pink and gold, Ethan finished his chores and walked along the fence that bordered the alien forest. He liked to watch the colors in the sky and listen to the strange calls of birds in the trees. It was peaceful. But on this night, Ethan heard something different. It was a deep, low sound, almost like a cry. He stopped and listened. The sound came again, a little louder and filled with pain. Ethan's heart beat faster. He knew he should go home. His father had warned him many times not to go near the forest at night. But the sound pulled at him, and he could not turn away. Carefully, he moved closer to the trees, stepping over rocks and roots. The air smelled sharp and strange, not like the clean wind on the farm. Then he saw it. In a small clearing just past the fence, a large dragon lay on its side. Its silver and blue scales were covered with dust and dried blood. One of its wings was bent at a wrong angle, and there were deep cuts along its body. The dragon lifted its head and looked at Ethan with bright, tired eyes. It made a soft rumbling sound but did not move. Ethan froze. He was afraid, but the dragon did not look angry. It looked tired and hurt. He remembered the old stories about dragons burning down houses, but he also remembered his mother's words. She always said that every creature feels pain and fear, even if it looks frightening. Ethan took a deep breath and slowly walked forward. He spoke in a gentle voice, telling the dragon that he was not going to hurt it. The dragon watched him but stayed still. Ethan could see that its wounds were bad. He took off his jacket and pressed it against one of the bleeding cuts. The dragon winced but did not attack. Ethan talked quietly as he worked, telling the dragon about his farm, the animals, and the sunsets. He hoped his voice would calm the creature. Ethan saw that the dragon's side moved up and down quickly, as if it was in pain. He remembered a water bottle in his bag and held it out. The dragon sniffed the bottle, then slowly reached out with its long tongue and took a drink. It made a softer sound, almost like a sigh. Ethan smiled. He felt a little less afraid. He stayed with the dragon for a long time, cleaning its wounds as best he could with what he had. The dragon's eyes watched every move, but it never tried to harm him. The sky grew darker, and Ethan knew he should go home, but he did not want to leave the dragon alone. He promised the dragon he would return in the morning and bring more help. As he stood to go, the dragon made a low, rumbling sound and turned its head toward a patch of grass nearby. Ethan looked and saw a small pile of stones and dirt. At first, he did not understand, but then he saw something round and pale between the rocks. He stepped closer and realized there were eggs hidden in the grass. The dragon was a mother. Ethan was surprised and felt a heavy sense of responsibility. He looked at the dragon mother and saw the fear in her eyes. She was worried about her eggs, maybe even more than her own pain. He knelt beside the eggs and checked them carefully. They were warm and soft, with faint blue lines running across their shells. The dragon mother watched him, her eyes shining. In the moonlight, she did not move, but Ethan felt as if she was trusting him with something precious. He promised he would not let anything happen to her eggs. The dragon closed her eyes for a moment, as if she understood. Ethan looked back toward the farm. No one knew he was here. If anyone found out about the dragon and her eggs, they might call the colony guards. The guards would not be kind. He had heard stories about what happened to dangerous animals near the farms. Ethan made up his mind. He would do whatever it took to protect the dragon mother and her eggs, even if it meant hiding them from his own people. As the night grew cold, Ethan covered the dragon with his jacket and made sure the eggs were safe. Under the grass, he whispered that he would return at dawn, then quietly slipped back through the trees and ran home. All night, he thought about the dragon mother, her wounds, and the secret he now carried. For the first time in his life, he felt part of something much bigger than himself. Ethan woke up before sunrise. He could not stop thinking about the dragon mother and her eggs. He wanted to help her, but he knew he had to be careful. If his father or anyone else found out about the dragon, everything could go wrong. Ethan quietly dressed and grabbed his backpack. He filled it with a water bottle, some old towels, and pieces of bread from the kitchen. He made sure not to wake anyone as he left the house. The air outside was cold and the sky was still dark. Ethan hurried to the edge of the farm, checking over his shoulder to see if anyone was following. The fields were quiet. He crossed the fence and moved carefully through the grass toward the place where he had left the dragon mother. He listened for sounds, afraid that something might have happened during the night. When he reached the small clearing, Ethan was relieved to see the dragon mother still there. She had not moved much, and her wing was still bent. The dragon opened her eyes and looked at Ethan. He could tell she was tired, but not afraid. Ethan spoke softly, telling her that he had come back, just as he promised. Ethan knelt beside the eggs and checked on them. They were safe under the grass, still warm and showing their faint blue lines. He smiled and talked to the dragon mother about the sunrise and the birds. He did not know if she could understand his words, but he hoped his voice would make her feel less alone. Ethan cleaned the dragon's wounds again. He used the towels and gave her water. The dragon made a soft, grateful sound. She watched him closely, her big eyes never leaving his face. Ethan wondered if she knew how much danger she was in. People in the colony did not trust dragons. Most were afraid. If they saw her here, they would think she was a threat. Ethan looked at the eggs. He knew he could not leave them out in the open. If a wild animal found them, or if someone from the farm came near, they might get hurt. He thought about what to do. The barn at home was old, but it was quiet and warm. Maybe he could hide the eggs there, just for a while, until the dragon mother could get better. Ethan took off his jacket and laid it next to the eggs. One by one, he picked up the eggs and gently wrapped them in the soft cloth. The dragon mother watched with worried eyes, but she did not try to stop him. Ethan promised again that he would keep them safe. He put the eggs in his backpack, making sure they were not pressed or shaken. He told the dragon mother that he would come back soon. Ethan hurried back across the field, keeping to the shadows. He reached the barn and quietly slipped inside. The barn was full of old hay, broken tools, and crates. In one corner, there was a small pile of fresh straw. Ethan carefully laid the eggs in the straw, making a soft nest. He covered them with more hay to keep them warm and hidden. He checked the eggs again and smiled. They looked safe. As Ethan was leaving the barn, he heard someone calling his name. It was Olivia, his neighbor and friend. She waved at him from the fence and ran over. Olivia was always curious, and Ethan worried she might notice something strange. She asked what he was doing in the barn so early. Ethan tried to sound normal and said he was just checking on the animals. Olivia did not look convinced, but she did not press for answers. She said her father wanted help with a broken fence later and asked if Ethan could come by. Ethan agreed, trying to keep calm. He did not want Olivia to follow him or ask more questions. He said he would see her later and hurried back to the house. During breakfast, Ethan could hardly eat. He kept thinking about the dragon mother waiting in the clearing and the eggs hidden in the barn. He worried about someone finding them, or about the dragon mother getting weaker. He wished he could do more, but he was just one person. His father asked if he was feeling sick, and Ethan said he was just tired. After breakfast, Ethan gathered some extra food and sneaked out to the clearing again. He found the dragon mother awake and restless. She seemed worried about her eggs. Ethan explained in a soft voice that the eggs were safe in his barn. He showed her a small piece of blue straw from the barn to help her understand. The dragon mother watched him and then slowly lowered her head. Ethan hoped she trusted him. Ethan sat with her for a while, telling her about his family and the farm. He wished he could do more to help her heal. He brought her pieces of bread and she ate them carefully, her sharp teeth barely touching his hand. Ethan wondered if the dragon mother had ever met a human before. He thought she might be just as afraid as he was. Later that day, Ethan went to help Olivia's father with the fence. Olivia asked more questions, but Ethan kept his answers short. He tried to act normal, but he could feel her eyes on him. He hoped she would not guess his secret. The sun was high when Ethan went back to the barn to check on the eggs. They were still safe and warm. He watched the blue lines on their shells and thought he saw them move, just a little. He wondered how long it would take for them to hatch, and if he would be ready to protect them. As evening came, Ethan returned to the clearing again. He found the dragon mother waiting for him. She seemed a little stronger and even tried to lift her injured wing. Ethan felt proud, but he knew she needed more time to heal. He promised the dragon mother that he would keep her eggs safe, no matter. What happened? He sat with her until the stars came out and told her stories about the people of the colony and the beauty of the night sky. The dragon mother listened quietly, her eyes shining in the darkness. Ethan felt a new sense of hope. He was no longer just a farmer's son. He was a friend to a dragon, and he carried a secret that could change everything. Ethan woke early again, his mind full of thoughts about the dragon mother and her eggs. He felt a deep sense of duty to protect them, but the fear of being discovered stayed with him. If the colony found out, they might see the dragons only as enemies. Ethan did not want that. He wanted to show that dragons could be trusted if humans gave them a chance. After his chores, Ethan went to check on the barn. The eggs were still safe and warm in the soft hay. He carefully lifted one and saw the faint blue lines glowing a little brighter than before. He felt a small hope grow inside him. The eggs were alive and strong, just like the dragon mother. Ethan knew he could not keep the secret forever. One day, someone would find out. But for now, he planned to protect the dragon mother and her eggs as best as he could. He decided to bring food to the dragon mother every day and watch over her closely. That afternoon, Ethan walked to the clearing with some fresh bread and water. The dragon mother was waiting for him, lying quietly among the trees. Her eyes brightened when she saw him. She seemed to understand that Ethan was there to help. Ethan sat beside her and gave her the bread. She ate slowly, her sharp teeth barely touching the food. He spoke softly, telling her about the colony, his family, and the work on the farm. The dragon mother made low, rumbling sounds that Ethan thought were like answers. He wished he could understand her language. While Ethan stayed with the dragon mother, he heard noises coming from the forest. At first he thought it was just animals, but then he heard voices. He stood quickly, looking toward the trees. A group of men from the colony were walking near the clearing, holding rifles and shouting. They looked angry and ready for a fight. Ethan's heart pounded. He knew these men were part of the colony search team. They had been sent to find and kill dragons after reports of damage near the farms. Ethan realized the danger was closer than he thought. He quietly warned the dragon mother and helped her hide behind a large fallen tree. She moved slowly but managed to hide. Ethan stayed still and watched as the men came closer, shouting and searching the area. One of them pointed a flashlight toward the clearing. Ethan's mind raced. He knew the eggs were safe in the barn, but if the men found the dragon mother, they would attack. He could not let that happen. Suddenly an idea came to him. He would lead the search team away from the clearing. He took a deep breath and stepped into the open. "Hey!" Ethan shouted, waving his arms. The men turned toward him, surprised. "There's no dragon here." "I think I saw wolves in the forest." One man, the leader, stepped forward and looked at Ethan suspiciously. "Wolves? We haven't seen wolves here for years." Ethan nodded quickly. "Yes, I saw them last night near the east side. They might be the cause of the damage." The leader frowned but called the others. "Check the east side, see if there are wolves." The men moved away from the clearing, following Ethan's direction. Ethan waited until they were far enough before running back to the Dragon Mother. She looked at him with trusting eyes, and he felt a strong bond between them. That night, Ethan returned to the barn. He was tired but needed to see the eggs. 1. Egg showed a small crack, and he could hear a faint tapping sound. His heart raced with excitement. The egg was starting to hatch. Ethan covered the eggs carefully and sat beside the nest, waiting. After a few minutes, a tiny head with shining blue scales broke through the shell. The little dragon was small but strong. It blinked its bright eyes and looked at Ethan with curiosity. Ethan smiled and gently touched the hatchling's soft scales. The dragon made a soft sound, almost like a purr. Ethan felt happy and proud. The Dragon Mother's eggs were safe, and new life was beginning. The next day, Ethan told Olivia about the dragon in the forest. He did not tell her everything, but said he had found an injured animal and was helping it. Olivia was curious but did not ask more questions. She trusted Ethan but worried about the danger nearby. Together, Ethan and Olivia decided to watch the area carefully. They hoped to protect the Dragon Mother and her hatchlings from the search team. Ethan knew it would be hard, but with Olivia's help, he felt stronger. Days passed, and the Dragon Mother grew stronger too. She moved carefully and stayed close to Ethan and Olivia. The little hatchling grew quickly, learning to move its wings and explore the barn. Ethan and Olivia spent many hours with the dragons, sharing food and stories. Ethan hoped the colony would one day accept the dragons. He believed humans and dragons could live together in peace. For now, he was ready to protect his new friends. No matter what dangers came, the secret of the alien Dragon Mother and her eggs was safe. But Ethan knew the real challenge was just beginning. Ethan woke up early, feeling a little tired, but ready to face the day. The secret he carried was heavy on his mind. He knew the search team was still close and the danger was real. But he also felt hope because the Dragon Mother was growing. Stronger, she moved more easily and seemed to trust him more every day. After breakfast, Ethan went to the barn to check on the eggs and the little hatchling. The baby dragon was learning to flap its small wings. It looked curious and playful, its scales shining with soft blue light. Ethan smiled as he watched it. He knew the Dragon Mother would be proud when she saw how strong her baby was becoming. Ethan decided it was time to tell Olivia everything. He trusted her, and he needed her help more than ever. When Olivia arrived at the farm, Ethan led her to the barn and showed her the Dragon Mother and the baby. Olivia's eyes grew wide with surprise, but she did not run away. Instead, she sat quietly and watched the dragons. Ethan explained how he found the Dragon Mother and how he promised to protect her eggs. Olivia listened carefully, then nodded. "We need to keep them safe," she said. "If the search team finds them, they will kill the dragons." The two friends made a plan. Olivia would watch the fields and warn Ethan if she saw the search team coming. Ethan would care for the Dragon Mother and the hatchling. They agreed to keep the secret between them. If anyone else found out, the dragons would be in danger. That evening, as the sun set, Ethan and Olivia returned to the clearing to check on the Dragon Mother. She was resting, her wing healing slowly. The baby dragon played near her, chasing small insects and learning to walk. The Dragon Mother looked tired but peaceful. Ethan felt happy to see her safe. Suddenly, Olivia's eyes grew sharp. She whispered, "They're coming." Ethan looked toward the forest and saw the search team moving through the trees. They had rifles and looked angry. The search team was closer than before. Ethan's heart beat fast. He knew they had to act quickly. He told the Dragon Mother to stay still and quiet. Olivia ran back to the farm to get help from the other settlers. Ethan stayed with the dragons, hoping to protect them as best as he could. The search team reached the clearing and began to look around. Ethan stood in the open, trying to appear calm. "There's no dragon here," he said loudly. "I saw nothing but wild animals." One of the men stepped forward and said, "We found scorch marks near the farms." "We can't let dragons damage our homes," Ethan nodded. "I understand, but these dragons don't want to hurt us." The one I saw was hurt and afraid. The leader of the search team looked at Ethan, then at the trees. "If you're lying, you'll answer to the colony." Ethan stayed silent, feeling the weight of their suspicion. But before the searchers could move deeper into the forest, Olivia returned with several settlers. They had tools and weapons, ready to help protect the farm. Seeing the group, the search team decided to leave for now. They warned Ethan and the settlers to watch carefully and report any dragon sightings. After the search team left, Ethan and Olivia hurried to the barn. The dragon mother was safe, but Ethan could see the fear in her eyes. He promised her they would protect her family. The next days were full of work and worry. Ethan and Olivia watched the fields, moved the eggs carefully when needed, and helped the dragon mother heal. The baby dragon grew stronger, learning to fly short distances and explore its world. Word spread quietly among the settlers about Ethan's bravery. Some began to believe that dragons were not only dangerous creatures but also living beings, worthy of respect. The colony slowly started to change its view, thanks to Ethan's secret friendship. One night, Ethan sat beside the dragon mother and whispered, "You trusted me with your eggs, and I will never forget that. Together we will show the colony a new way." The dragon mother closed her eyes, resting peacefully. Ethan knew the road ahead would be hard, but he was ready. The future was uncertain, but hope shone bright like the scales of the alien dragons he had come to love. Ethan woke before dawn, his mind heavy with worry. The colony's search team was still close, and every day brought new risks. But the dragon mother and her hatchling had grown stronger, and Ethan knew he could not give up. The eggs still hidden. In the barn were a secret he carried carefully. If they were found, everything would be lost. That morning, Ethan went to check on the barn. The eggs were still safe under the soft hay, but one egg had a small crack growing larger. He gently touched it and heard a faint tapping inside. The new life inside was about to break free. Ethan felt a mix of joy and fear. He knew he had to protect the eggs and the dragon mother, but the search team was getting closer. He thought about Olivia and how much he needed her help now. He called her to the farm, and together they prepared to guard the secret. During the day, Ethan and Olivia worked quietly. They repaired fences, fed animals, and watched the fields. Olivia kept an eye on the horizon, ready to warn Ethan if the search team appeared. Ethan stayed near the barn, ready to protect the eggs at all costs. As night fell, a soft tapping sound came from the barn. Ethan hurried inside and saw the crack had grown. Slowly, a small head with shining blue scales pushed through the shell. The baby dragon blinked and looked around with bright, curious eyes. Ethan smiled and carefully helped the hatchling out of its shell. The little dragon made a soft sound, almost like a purr. Ethan gently touched its scales and felt warmth spread through his hands. He knew this was the beginning of a new life, one full of hope and danger. Outside, the dragon mother watched from a distance. She moved slowly but stood tall. Ethan could see the pride in her eyes. She trusted him more now, knowing he was helping her family survive. Suddenly, a noise from the farm caught Ethan's attention. He looked outside and saw the search team approaching again. They moved quietly, their rifles ready. Ethan's heart raced. He knew they were close to discovering the secret. Ethan and Olivia quickly moved the hatchling to a safer place in the barn. They covered it with soft hay and blankets. Ethan whispered to the baby dragon, promising to keep it safe. Olivia stood guard at the door, watching for the search team. The searchers entered the farm, moving carefully. They checked the fences and the fields, looking for signs of dragons. Ethan stepped forward, trying to appear calm. "There is no dragon here," he said loudly. "You won't find anything." One of the men sneered. "We know dragons are. Here, we will find them." Ethan took a deep breath. "The dragons I know are not enemies. They want peace, just like us." The search team did not believe him and moved closer to the barn. Olivia quickly stepped outside and called the other settlers. They came with tools and voices raised, ready to protect Ethan and the dragons. The settlers stood strong, their presence surprising the search team. The leader ordered his men to retreat, but warned that the colony would not accept dragons easily. After the search team left, Ethan and Olivia returned to the barn. The dragon mother was safe but still weak. Ethan cared for her wounds and fed her pieces of bread. The baby dragon explored the barn, learning to move and flap its small wings. Days passed, and the bond between humans and dragons grew stronger. Ethan and Olivia shared stories with the settlers, teaching them about the dragon's kindness and strength. Slowly, the colony's fear began to fade. One evening, Ethan sat beside the dragon mother and her hatchling. He whispered, "You trusted me with your eggs, and I will protect you always." The dragon mother closed her eyes, resting peacefully. Ethan looked at the stars and felt hope. The future was uncertain, but he believed that humans and dragons could live together in peace. Together they would build a new world, where trust and friendship would overcome fear and hatred. Ethan woke early again, feeling the cool morning air on his face. The farm was quiet, but his thoughts were loud. The secret he had kept for so long was no longer just his. Olivia and some settlers knew, and the colony was beginning to change its mind about the dragons. He went to the barn where the dragon mother and her baby were waiting. The mother was stronger now. Her wing had healed enough for her to stand and move slowly. The hatchling had grown bigger, too. It was learning to fly, its wings beating softly as it jumped from the hay pile to the wooden beams. Ethan smiled and knelt beside them. He had never felt so connected to another living being. The dragon mother looked at him with trust and calm eyes. Ethan felt proud. He had promised to protect her and her family, and he meant it with all his heart. The days were peaceful but filled with small dangers. The search team still patrolled near the farm, and rumors spread among the settlers. Some wanted to hunt the dragons, but many began to see them as part of the land, as creatures that could live with humans. One afternoon, Olivia came running to the barn. "Ethan! The council is calling a meeting. They want to talk about the dragons." Ethan's heart jumped. This could be good or very bad. At the meeting, many voices spoke. Some settlers were afraid and wanted the dragons gone. Others spoke for peace, telling stories of Ethan's kindness and the dragon mother's gentle nature. Olivia and Ethan stood together and spoke about trust and the future. The council listened and decided to give the dragons a chance. They made a rule: no one would harm the dragons if they did not cause harm first. The dragons would be protected, and humans and dragons would learn to live together. Ethan felt relief and hope. He returned to the barn, where the dragon mother was resting. He told her the news, and she moved closer, rubbing her head gently against his shoulder. The baby dragon chirped happily, flapping its wings. Life on the colony began to change. Children played near the forest, watching the dragons fly above. Farmers worked their fields without fear. Ethan and Olivia helped teach everyone how to live with the dragons, sharing stories and care. One night, under the stars, Ethan sat with the dragon mother and her now-grown hatchling. He whispered, "You trusted me with your eggs, and now we all trust each other. Together we are stronger." The dragon mother closed her eyes, calm and peaceful. Ethan knew the road ahead would still have challenges, but he was ready. With friendship and courage, humans and dragons would build a new future, one of hope, trust, and peace.